Okay, what's happening, people? We are live. We have an all-star cast this week. It is Everyone's a Pundit, episode 74. So I'm gonna make this short and sharp and snappy so we can get right into the action, into the thick of things. We've got basically, four amazing guests. So I'll let them introduce themselves and then we'll crack on from there. So I'll start to my top right, which is Cy Cole. So go ahead, Cy, introduce yourself.
Yeah, Psycho, massive Liverpool fan. Also an estate agent, so if you ever need me, I'm sure Patrick will probably put something in the link there. Part of North London, do with everything. But yeah, big Liverpool fan. Thank you for having me on.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming on. That's basically Everyone's a pundit, and without you guys, the pundits, there is no show. So, okay, let's get to the next one. Stel, please introduce yourself.
Hello, it's my second appearance on this episode, and I've got a Views logo on my top right, so I had to move my camera. I host Shoot the Defence with Rod at the bottom, and I also host an Omoni Nicosia fan page or a podcast called No Choftes, which basically means no nonsense. And we're doing pretty well at the moment, especially now that we've won the league our first in 11 years.
Rap. You know? Yeah, good stuff. Okay, Rodri, please go ahead, sir.
It's the first time on. I was on last week, but some technical difficulties and then ended up watching Line of Duty. But here we are.
That's it. No, wicked. Thank you for coming on. Massive guest. So appreciate it, Rods.
Rod, are we going to record tomorrow, by the way? I haven't spoken to you about it.
and last but not least, Mr. Jason Alex. Come on.
Yeah, well, Pat already said it, so I don't need to say my name. But Mr. Jason Alex, a lot of people already know who I am. I'm a massive Arsenal fan. So yeah, let's get into it, man.
Let's get into it. And obviously I am your host. You should know me all by now, but my name is Patrick Tyrant, aka Young Swaggy Daniels. When you see the T, see the P. When you see the P, it represents T. Let's go. Let's go, peoples. Let's go. Let's
intro, I always feel shortchanged. That's such a great intro.
Welcome with the energy. So we're going to start with the weekend's results. So obviously on Friday, it was a massive shock to the system. Leicester 2, Newcastle 4. Then on Saturday, we had a stink fest. Leeds 3, Spurs 1. That all but ended Tottenham's Champions League's hopes. Then it was Sheffield United 0, Crystal Palace 2. Man City 1, Chelsea 2 in an interesting game, pretty much a dress rehearsal for the Champions League final coming up. Then we went to Liverpool and they beat Southampton comfortably 2-0. Wolves today, we had Wolves 2, Brighton 1. Then we went to Aston Villa 1, Man United 3. So Man United with a late charge of goals and pretty much showed their dominance in the second half. West Ham 0, Everton 1, which was quite an interesting game with a lot riding on it. And then last but not least, we had Arsenal 3, West Brom 1. Comfortable display for Arsenal. Pretty much turned it on when they needed to. And Willian scored his first goal. Nice free kick. So we'll get into all of that. But okay, let's start with, obviously, the league's pretty much wrapped up. Man City walked that this year, which, is a bit of a disappointment for all the rest of us in the top 6. But obviously, credit to them. But we've got a really interesting scenario playing out with the top 4. So we've got, and if I've got it here, so who finishes in the top 4? So I'm going to go around and see what you guys think. We've got Chelsea on 64 points, Leicester on 63, West Ham on 58, Liverpool on 57 with a game in hand, Spurs on 56, and Everton on 55 with a game in hand. So Rodri, we'll start with you. Who do you think gets those final 2 Champions League places?
I said Leicester at first, but looking at it now, you've got to say the Chelsea are probably nailed on. You can't see them losing too many, if any. So, Chelsea definite, and you probably say Liverpool and West Ham slipping up today. So and Leicester seem to be on 3-4. So I'll probably say Liverpool and Chelsea, but I did say Leicester. So Yeah, I would like Leicester to stay in, but nah, I still think Liverpool sneak in the end.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one because you got Leicester who have pretty much been in the top four the whole year, and it was the same thing last year. Last year they got pipped to the post on the last day by Man United. This year it looks like just as they need to really cement that place, they're falling away again. So, Sai, I'll go to you as as a Liverpool fan, and Brendan Rodgers being, your ex-manager. Do you think he is as good as people say he is, or can you see basically the other side of him where he keeps bottling it late in the season?
It's hard for me, I suppose, to be completely neutral because I rate him. I actually do rate him. In one sense, I think, yes, he's a bit of a bottle job, but it's been such a weird season. And then you look at their squad, they have been obliterated with injuries. And then, I don't know, is it a bottle job? When you look at their fixtures now, I can't see them getting in the top four for sure now. I think their next three are major teams that I think they're not gonna get any more points. But I still don't blame Rodgers. I still think Leicester are still massively overachieving with that squad that he's got. I just don't think they've got the depth. They shouldn't be where they are, in my opinion.
So? I don't know, man. They've got a really good team, and Iniacho, Jamie Vardy, Maddison.
Iniacho's only just come to the party, though.
Yeah, but
in my opinion,
he came through a decent academy. They paid a lot for him. He's a good player. Ndidi in the middle. They've got a solid defense, a very good goalkeeper.
I think they've got a good 11. But I think when you start, like, you see they drop off points when they lose the likes of maybe Vardy and Madsen, Pereira, who was out for a long time. Their defense has been a bit of a makeshift as well, isn't it? I think they've had. I think everyone's been in and out, and I think this injuries have just literally rolled them in the last sort of 3 games. But I still think they overachieved. Like, how many can really get into the top 6 clubs bar Arsenal? How many of those players can get in? I don't know. Maybe Vardy.
Really? I don't know. And I think Ndidi would start for quite a few of those top 6 clubs. I think Maddison would push quite a few number 10s or attacking midfielders. Sanucci, he's okay, but Fofana would probably start at quite a few clubs.
Yeah, Fofana's quality. Yeah.
They've got a good team, man. They low-key do have a good team. So, I mean, Stel, would you look at Brendan Rodgers as basically the answer for, if a club, for example, you got Tottenham and Arsenal, who both badly, I would say, need new managers?
I think Tottenham could do with Brendan Rodgers, in my opinion. I actually have him down here. I think he would be awesome at Spurs for the dynamics and your sort of transfer kitty, the tightness that Levy has. I think he's good at wheeler dealing. He's good at finding unknown players and also making a squad slightly better. I still think, as much as we can look at this and think he's been there all season, it does look like a failure, and also for the second time. But I still think, like, what he done at Swansea, what he done at Celtic, what he done with our Liverpool team to be nearly winners. I think that Leicester squad, I don't know who else can do as good a job as what he's done at Leicester. Their first 11 is good, but their squad is still debatable.
I don't know if I agree with you. I think they've got a really good team, and I think they've got a really good squad. You're also looking at someone like Harvey Barnes, who's quite an energetic and decent player. His output has been quite good this year, obviously.
But again, I think Rodgers has brought that guy to the table. He was nobody before.
And that's the thing. Brendan Rodgers,
nobody before.
Yeah. I think Leicester have got a good, I'd say they probably got a good scouting system. Brendan Rodgers is a very good coach as well. He knows how to coach people and develop them and nurture them through. So it'll be interesting to see how they finish. We never know. They could get some results out of their last 3 games, but it's looking unlikely when you look at their form and obviously the teams they've got. So going across to you, Stel, who would you say finishes in those in the top 4, those last 2 spots? And then who would you say finishes 5th and 6th, so basically qualifies for Europa?
Well, 2 weeks ago on our podcast, we spoke about that, and I said Liverpool were going to sneak in. And I think with Leicester, granted, they've got a difficult run-in, but in a way, they're kind of lucky they've got the FA Cup final next week, because they'll play United on Tuesday, might field a weaker team because they know they've got the cup final, get the cup final out of the way, and at least they know where they stand. I mean, they're guaranteed Europa League at least, aren't they? Right. So obviously the next step is the Champions League. Now, after United and Chelsea, they got Chelsea again in the league, and then they got Spurs. So when you're looking at their squad, when you look at their availability, when you look at football heritage, as Jose would say, given last season as well, they're known to go through a downward spiral come the end of the season. Now, I don't know whether that's a mentality issue. Last season, granted, they had a lot of injuries at the back end of the season. But this year, we're seeing Soyuncu making mistakes like he did last season against Bournemouth. Remember getting sent off for hacking someone?
Yeah.
His mistakes against Newcastle, criminal. Vardy isn't scoring. Maddison is hit, miss, or maybe, as Steve would say on our podcast about Bielsa at the moment. I don't think they've got the capacity or the mental capacity to do it. Liverpool just look like they're not going to drop any more points till the end of the season. So I think it will be Chelsea and Liverpool taking the positions, the Champions League, and then I still think West Ham will creep in Europa League with Leicester, I guess.
Interesting. So West Ham, so Leicester 5th, West Ham 6th, and then after that, pretty much, Spurs.
Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares, really?
Yeah. Interesting. Nah, and so Rodri, obviously, Man United this season, I don't think many people would have at the beginning of the season said that they would comfortably finish second into the Europa League final now, pretty much looking solidified as the second best team in the country. Would you say it's been a good season?
Well, it'd be a good season if you go there. So, if you just come second, then no, it's not. It's not really a good season for Manchester United anyway. So, if we win the cup, season, but teams like Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, they've got to be in the Champions League, not playing Europa League. But, we're there, so we've got to win it. But it'll be a successful season if we win. And if we don't, then
definitely, I agree with that.
And then he's under pressure next year to win something.
It'll be a successful season for the owners if United don't win anything. They'll be happy with second place for everything because they don't have to pay bonuses. It's true. They don't have to pay bonuses. Yeah.
Seriously.
So they prefer United to come second because they can still get prize money, but then they wouldn't have to pay the bonuses for winning trophies.
Wow. Well, I think they're going to be pissed then because United will, in my opinion, they're definitely going to win the Europa. I can see that.
Be so sure, mate.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Listen, when some managers have got their name etched on a trophy.
Yeah.
And, Emery, as much as Arsenal fans slander him, look at his record with Sevilla. And it's his first season at Villarreal, and he's taken them
the most. Yeah, he knows how to win it.
He is a great manager, but I can't see, in my opinion, them beating Man United in a final. I think Man United,
one-off game.
Yeah, I think Man United have got too much quality for them. I really do. I can't see it. After watching them twice against Arsenal, don't get me wrong, Villarreal are a good team, and they've got the way they set up. Emery knows what he's doing, basically, but I can't see them beating United, man. I really can't.
Well, look, I'm not saying that United aren't going to win this, but I wouldn't completely rule out Villarreal. I wouldn't. You can't. Listen, I hate to bring this up again, but 2004 when Greece won it, who'd have thought that they'd even get past the group stage? But they ended up winning the bloody thing. So stranger things have happened in football. Yeah,
no, I hear that. That is actually a really good point. Really good point. Be interesting to see how that basically pans out. And then, Jason, obviously Arsenal crashing out of the Europa League on Thursday was quite a low point for Arsenal fans. I saw, Twitter went into meltdown. It says that you guys aren't going to be in Europe for the first time in 26 years. A lot of fans have now pretty much put the knife in our tail. What's your feelings and thoughts about him? And do you think he's a guy to, move you forward next season?
Me personally, I think like Thursday, I kind of decided that maybe he's not the man to lead Arsenal forward. I mean, he basically gave that tie to Emery, man. The first leg, he absolutely just killed himself with the first leg, as far as I'm concerned, with the lineup, not playing a striker. Then you're playing Xhaka at left back when you can play Saka at left back. I personally would have sacrificed Saka to play left back because you can see what he brings to the table when he's there. You saw it today, even though it was against West Brom, but you saw it even at last season when he was covering Tierney. He was covering at left back. He was getting assists, putting balls in the box, basically doing what Tierney does. Xhaka doesn't offer that. So for me, I didn't understand why he didn't put Saka there, because we've got enough players to play in the wing forward position, if you get what I'm saying. So, after Thursday, like what hurt me the most is that it's not the fact we went out, it's the fact how we went out. We didn't even try, in my opinion. We didn't try to win.
Do you think
if you tried to win, you wouldn't have come out and played like the way we did?
You say you didn't try. I don't know if you didn't try. I think for me, Arteta, he messed about too much. He almost did what Pep does sometimes when he overcomplicates simple things. In the first game, he played a false nine. I've never seen you guys do that all season. So in one of the most important games of your season, he then messes around and experiments. And then obviously on Thursday again, it was a chop and change. He moved people about. So I don't know if it was that you guys didn't try. I think Arteta's just confused everyone.
Look at the shots on goal we had over the 2 games.
Yeah, 4 shots on target over 2 legs.
That shows me you're not trying to win. You know what I'm saying? So, I personally think we should change, but he's not going anywhere. So I've basically just said to myself, okay, he's going to stay, but I'm giving him till at least October. If we're not at least 6th by October, then definitely get rid.
Really?
Because he's not going to get a blind next season. I'm not even giving him till Christmas. It's October.
All right, Sai, I aim the same question at you. When you, as a neutral looking in on Arsenal, do you think Arteta is the right man? Would you wield the axe now? And if so, who would you bring in there?
You know what? I've got that down here. Is that one of the points I was going to fire across? I think Arsenal have got nothing to lose Arteta. I always sort of, again, I've got my Liverpool glasses on. I think if we lost Klopp now, where would we be better off? I'm not so sure. Where with Arteta, I think it looks like he's taking as far as maybe he can take Arsenal. And Arsenal, when I look at the stats and look at Arsenal of the old, it's just been just declining, and it's just awful. And when he first came, you can almost feel, okay, maybe he's got a bit of an identity. He's made Arsenal at least more defensively solid. But then after, it just feels like he just doesn't have a clue. Like he actually looks out of his depth.
You can see the inexperience in certain decisions.
You can actually see it, yeah.
So yeah, man.
I think
how can you make a chicken sandwich out of chicken shit?
So what are you saying, Stel? It's the players.
They had that problem the back end of Wenger's tenure, the problem with Emery's tenure, they had the problem with Arteta. Look at most of those players. Bellerin, David Luiz, Pablo Mari. If Pablo Mari was any good, he'd still be at Man City. Yeah? He'd still be there. Tierney has been there shining light. They've relied on the youngsters, youngsters, Saka and Smith-Rowe.
Yeah.
They pinned their hopes on these 2 players. Aubameyang, his discipline has been shambolic. Since he got that new contract, he's down tools. And people are going to say, oh, he's got malaria. Well, that was quite recent. What about the rest of this season? And they go, oh, what about his goals? Yeah, okay, fine. These things happen. But, people aren't saying that about Jurgen Klopp. They're saying that Jurgen Klopp has flopped this season, but his mum died recently. He couldn't even go to the funeral. But, one rule for one rule for the other, right? That goes, yeah? No, it's just, look at that squad, man. Look at that squad. They signed Thomas Partey. You're thinking, all right, well, that's one midfield problem sorted. But what about the rest of them? You're relying on El Nene. You're relying on Xhaka. You're relying on Odegaard, who 2-3 years ago was supposed to be the next Messi, the Norwegian Messi. And what's he done?
Nothing.
So who are you going to bring in that's going to change that team? You need years and years to get rid of the deadwood. I know it's a cliche, but it's not just about getting rid of the players. It's about teams wanting these players. Look at Phil Jones. How long has he been at Man United for? 10 years? 12 years?
Criminal.
And someone had the brevity to offer him a new contract.
I think you guys thought that you was going to get rid of him, but you wanted to obviously increase your, the value of him by adding
exactly. They got him to sign a new contract, thinking they could sell him.
Exactly, and it backfired because now teams
run clubs. Clubs.
But this is it. It's the same with the Cronkies, right? Same with the Glazers. They don't care about winning trophies as long as they get in the position where they got the prize money, right? And they don't have to pay bonuses for winning trophies. There you go. So Arteta was always going to be on a hiding to nothing. Look who's got his backroom stuff as well. Steve Brown, for fuck's sake. Come on, man. Come on.
You know what?
Yeah,
So
that makes a difference. He needs to change his backroom staff as well. He needs a bit of experience alongside him. I mean, Steve Brown come from Leicester, right?
But he was at Everton, then he went to United with David Moyes.
And he's not really a likable character. But I don't know how true that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he upset a lot of people at United. A lot of people.
It's all about.
Arteta's upset people as well.
Huh?
I think it looks like Arteta's upset, except a few of the experienced players. I don't know if they play for him. It doesn't look like they sort of,
You know what? That's a good point. I'm going to ask this at Rodri. Rodri, when Arteta first came in, he was seen as basically a young Pep. He was seen as a tactical genius, and he was seen as somebody who was quite shrewd. Like from the beginning, he said to Ozil, "You're not playing," and he chopped him. He was quite ruthless with the experience or older players. So you look at someone like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who also came in as a ex-club legend, and when you compare the two, can you see where looking back now, can you see where Arteta was failed compared to Ole? Like, would you say that Ole's taken the club forward and essentially Arteta hasn't? I mean, when you compare them as they're both club legends, what would you say is the major difference?
I think there's a lot of differences. Pep is allowed 60, 70 million pound player. Arteta's got that luxury. Ollie had, Rashford, Greenwood, you can pull in Cavani, spend 8 million on Maguire. Can't. So he's got what he's got. So it's just what Stel was saying. It's a massive job. What they're going to do, he could be bringing in that can only get you so far. You still need them grounded, experienced veterans. You're going to help them play through, and have not had that since 2005, 2006. So yeah, it's a big job to pair him up against £60 million a player you can bring in, and Arteta's not got that luxury. So it's and would you put a 60 million player to 60 million player in? So Ollie, the comparisons possibly because they both started at the same comparisons, both a big job to do. But Ollie seems to be a little bit better, and Arsenal seems to just struggle this year. I.e. on Thursday, it was a poor game. You don't know more than they did, and they go out with it. So it's disappointing, especially for the fans and from the Arteta, because we all probably expect to go for it.
You seen the thing there. Arteta isn't a club legend. Well, when you guys brought him in, I was told he was a club legend.
Who said that? He's not a club legend.
I'm only going off what I was told by the Arsenal man.
Who told you that, bruv?
Now he's shagging. You lot are trying to distance.
Who told you that?
No, but Ollie was a superstar.
I was told he was a club legend when he was there. He was only playing in the Champions League.
No one's ever said he's a club legend.
But do you know what? I'm shocked at how the club has kind of regressed so much in such a short period of time. I remember he came in, everything was so positive. He was quick to get rid of some of the bad eggs like Ozil and Guendouzi, who clearly weren't in it. All right, he made a few big decisions, but Pepe is playing much better. He's looking to pay back that 70-odd million pound they spent on him. We saw Nketiah, breaking through. They gave him a chance after his stint at Leeds, and things looked like they were on the up. But it's almost as if, I wouldn't say the players have down tools, but their confidence is completely shot at the moment. I don't know, they got a good win today, but it's West Brom, and let's be honest, they're finished. But when it comes to the big boys, they struggle, and it's always been a mentality thing for Arsenal. Even under Wenger, I know we can talk about the invincible season, or whatever, but even years before, years after, they were still struggling against the big boys. So it's always been a mentality thing for Arsenal. I know I'm going to get a lot of stick for it, but it's a fact.
Well, to be fair, you comment about Arsenal struggling against the big boys. Since Arteta's come in, I think our results against the top six have improved. We've only struggled against Man City and Liverpool. Man United ain't beaten us in 2 seasons. We beat Chelsea in December. We got them again on Thursday. When we got them again? Is it Wednesday? We got them on Wednesday.
I'm pretty sure you lot had a stat. I mean, obviously, I'm just going off memory, so
our top six against our record against the top six before Arteta came was dreadful. But since he's come in, that's improved.
Do you know what? I concur. I agree with you. But on the flip side, it's kind of like a role reversal now. You know, before you guys struggled to break down the lesser teams like your Boltons and all that, but now it's pretty much like, yeah, you can beat the big teams, but it's almost as if you're struggling even more against these lower teams, which kind of reflects where you are at the moment. Now, is that a mentality thing? Do they feel like, you know, they play against these teams, they're like, well, it's not Man United, it's not Liverpool, it's not Chelsea, so do we really, you know, or is it? I don't know. There could be a lot of factors, man.
Awful. The squad is very average. Like, when you think about the Arsenal forgive me for saying, there's no, even Saka to a certain extent, as good as he has been, there's no way he would have been in a proper Arsenal team. In KR, that is like, when you think about it, that's embarrassing. How is a championship player playing in and amongst Lacazette and Aubameyang? Really? That's a joke. Like, a lot of these Arsenal players that you're playing, they're there by deep. Like, what they're doing there, they're not good enough.
Big and long contracts, mate. That's what it is.
It's just laughable.
That's effectively what it is.
And there's no value. Like, who's going to pay more than 20 million for an Arsenal player?
It's not even the players, the wages as well, side. That's what you got to remember. A lot of these guys are on good wages. So even if you do want to pick up, you know, I don't know.
P, let me tell you something. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah? This is a fact. Last season, at the end of last season, Arsenal paid Aubameyang a Champions League qualification bonus despite not qualifying.
Wow. But why though? Was that to keep him and make him sign a new deal?
He's got a good agent.
Okay. Interesting.
He's got a good agent. Okay, and you can read up on that. It's out there. It's not uncommon knowledge. It's there. You can look into it.
Just badly run clubs, man. I mean, they even need to get proper. You know, Arsenal ain't been the same since David Dean, to be fair. But I just feel like the managers need to just do the coaching and have really good chief executives. But it's just poor. It's just awful from top to bottom. Who you sign, there's no plan, there's no forward thought. It's embarrassing. I still like Arsenal, how you lot play, and I just think it's just sad where Arsenal is now.
Yeah, but you see these patterns emerging from these clubs that were once successful. What happens is when they don't get into the top four, they panic. So they spend a shit ton of money on players that aren't really going to propel them to another level. And then when that doesn't work out, it's like, shit, let's spend more money on players and give them more wages.
That was as well. They didn't need Ozil when they first.
Do you see the street parties when they brought him in? Do you see the street parties?
Yeah.
The thing with Ozil is because we lost Alexis, so the club thought, shit, we got to do something because if we can't.
But didn't Ozil come before Alexis left? Sanchez.
No. Ozil came 2014.
I thought you did. I thought you had Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah,
They played together.
I think you did.
No, I'm sure. No, Ozil came before Alexis. 100%. He came 2013. Alexis came after.
Okay.
But because
I thought he said Alexis left. I thought,
no. When Alexis went to Man United, I think that's when it was like, oh shit, we can't lose Alexis and Ozil. So I think that's when the club gave him that big contract.
All right, Sai, I've seen something that's coming in the comments from Dasiki Dash. So thanks for tuning in, Dash. What do you believe this notion that a year out of Europe for a club like Arsenal could be good for them? Or looking at it from the other side, before you answer, the fact that you've only got one game a week, you don't have the chance to play your youngsters or even bed in youngsters. For example, if you're looking at a Smith Rowe, a Saka, and these youngsters, if you don't have Europe, when are these guys going to get a chance or a game to prove themselves? And so basically looking at it from both sides of the coin, do you think a year out is a good reset for Arsenal?
Well, I think for Arsenal, Europe or not, they're playing these players, aren't they? I think if you was to talk about maybe your Spurs, all the other big clubs, basically, I think it would have an impact on the development of the kids. I think with Arsenal, I don't think anything changes because that's who Arteta is looking towards. You know, but I truly believe, as much as we'll say, oh, you're out, you can't spend, or you lose that spending power, I still think Arsenal will still have a pool. All the big clubs, I think we still be able to get a pool. We still be able to get a decent player if you're out of Europe for this one season. I don't think it's actually the end of the world. We just look at it in the moment and say, yeah, it's doom and gloom. I think the problem with Arsenal is that they do need to sort that squad out. And they need someone of experience. They need they need a manager. They need a general there. He's not the one.
Interesting point. And then so we'll segue over to the Spurs game, Rodri. Did you see the game on Saturday morning?
Leeds.
Yeah, Spurs versus Leeds. Because I wanted to ask you about the Harry Kane offside decision. For me, he looked level, which means he was onside.
That was all day onside.
I'm so confused. But obviously, I'm a Spurs fan, so maybe I'm seeing it with tinted glasses. I got my Spurs goggles on, so I wanted to ask another fan, what did you make of that decision? And is it time now for VAR to just get binned?
Well, these lines, they don't look straight. Don't know how. Some of them just don't look right, but yeah, it's just the penalties, the VAR, they just made a nonsense of it. But to answer your question, yeah, it's like inside, but you know, these lines don't straight, so it was just some you get, some you don't. Just like a lottery sometimes, you know, 100% or 99.9% giving it definite decisions, and it's still up in the air when, you know, VAR's brought in to correct things. It's just making it even worse.
Yeah, I was so confused because I thought, I mean, again, they draw the line so thin and it's so pixelated, you can't really see how clear it is. But for me, Kane looked bang on level. Like nothing of his was over that line in any shape or form. So if you're level, according to the letter of the law, I thought he was onside.
Yeah, he was onside back in the day.
I just didn't get it. And they kept replaying it. But when they gave the Leeds goal, which was onside, but everyone thought it was off, they didn't even show one replay. They just quickly showed it, boom, and that was it. So I'm like, how do they decide which ones they're going to, investigate by the millimeter and which ones they're not going to? And I just thought, for me, VAR was meant to be brought in to really show decisions where the referee may have missed it or something where we need it to be cleared up. Yeah, to clear mistakes up. But now they're refereeing every challenge in slow motion and by images, so people are getting sent off when they shouldn't get sent off. They're missing retrospective action, which they should definitely catch on the day. John Fleck, Sheffield United versus Spurs last week when he blatantly stamped on the Soso's head and no one said anything. And then they're just chalking off so many good goals, which should be given. I think Arsenal had one just a couple of weeks ago as well, which I don't understand how they called it offside, but they did.
Pepe one.
Yeah, that's it.
Antonio one says it all. When he's interviewed after the game, he stopped celebrating because he didn't go or not. When players are stopping celebrating,
exactly, and
belong to the fans. Won't belong to the fans are doing that too. So
yeah, no, you're right. It's so confusing because even when Son scored last week, I didn't celebrate because I was like, they might call this offside. And then again, they checked it. It was really tight. They called it off. So you can't even celebrate goals now unless you know it's a blatant goal. But even then, they can pull it back. The second or third phase 2 minutes ago. We're going to go back and check that.
The thing that pisses me off most about, there's two things that piss me off most about VAR. I don't have a problem with the concept of VAR. I've always wanted it in. But the first thing is that they say it's got to be a clear and obvious error by the referee. Now, if a player is offside by 2 millimeters or a toenail, how is that a clear and obvious error?
No, exactly.
It isn't. Right. So it's not being used properly by the people that are in the truck. Secondly, the camera angle. Right. For me, that's a fucking disgraceful camera angle. I mean, you got to use like an overhead camera. You got like a bird's eye view because of that way you can see it the right way. But what you're looking at effectively is like a 45-degree angle when you're looking at wherever it is. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's the camera that they're using. It's bullshit, man.
It's the fact that they've got to use all this technology, the lines. I just think like if the referee think, I'm not sure, let's get their assistant, let's get some extra help. And within 5 seconds, in my opinion, I've always thought they should have to see, it's on or off, or it's a mistake, or it isn't. It shouldn't be like, let's wait. It's like they're looking for fault in the game.
They're looking to chalk things off, and that's what
that's what's killing the game.
Yeah, it's killing it.
When I see them do the lines, it reminds me of Microsoft Paint back in the day when you try to do a straight line with and then you got the little that's how it's like. I'm like, for fuck's sake, man.
It's so amateur, and it's just it is killing the game. I don't get me wrong, VAR, the concept, like you said, Stel, the concept was fantastic, and we really thought it would improve things. But to be fair, it's made it worse. I would rather have the referee make a decision and get it wrong here and there, where we can actually enjoy the game. So it's getting to the point where I'd actually want it scrapped, and we just go back to the old way. Yes, you may get some decisions.
Corruption. There have been more and more betting companies coming to the fore since VAR was created.
That's a good point. You know, I never even thought of it like that. That is a very good point. So, wow, that is, it's frustrating, man. As fans, as people that want to enjoy the game and enjoy it in the moment, VAR is actually killing it for us. So, but let's talk about yesterday's game, the Man City versus Chelsea game. I personally thought Man City was going to comfortably beat them, especially as the title was on the line. And I thought, it was a bit of a lackluster game, to be honest. But basically, the question I wanted to ask you, Jay, is do you think now that Chelsea have Man City's number? They knocked them out of the FA Cup, and they also beat them yesterday.
You would probably think they have, but you can't say 100% that they do, because it's Man City. Man City, when they turn up, man. You get what I'm saying? So it's not it's a thing where you can't just say they've got the number because they beat them twice. To be fair, Man City wouldn't have lost that game if Aguero scored that penalty.
Mate.
I don't know why players want to be so cocky when it comes to taking penalties. Just take the penalty like a Harry Kane would or Jamie Vardy would. Just put it in the back of the net. Don't try and be funny or flash, because when you're funny and flash and it goes wrong, that's what happens. You get what I'm saying? So it would have been a different game if they went 2-0 up.
Yeah, 2-0 up just before half time.
It would have been a different game. So I don't know, man. It's a difficult one to tell. I can't guess. I
saw a comment from Pepe as being quite cheeky. He was like, basically, Chelsea played their hand. They played all their best players. Tuchel showed his hand, and I know his tactics now for the Champions League final. Where with Pep, he rotated quite a lot, didn't he?
Hold
on a second. Guardiola talking about knowing Chelsea's system. Let me tell you something, right? In the past 2 years, Man City have lost against United 2-0, Leicester 5-2, Arsenal 2-0 in the FA Cup, Chelsea in the FA Cup, Wolves twice, Lyon and Newcastle, and all of those teams played 3 at the back of those games, like Chelsea did.
Oh, that's interesting, actually.
Right, so he knows how to play against Chelsea's system, right? But he can't play against teams that play 3 at the back. Interesting.
So do you think Tuchel knew that going into that game?
Well, he had his number in the semi-final, didn't he?
Yeah. I think it'll be a different thing in the final. I think he will play all his big guns. I think City will win that.
Yeah.
That team was very weak. It's Champions League, so I don't think it's ever going to be comfortable, but I think possibly 1-0 or something like that, maybe.
It won't be a fashion, but
yeah,
it'll be a
control the game.
Yeah, it's, you know what, in a one-off game, I would have said before yesterday's game that I thought Man City were quite comfortable, not comfortably, because a final is never really a comfortable game, but I'm a bit on the fence now. I'm a bit 50-50 because Chelsea have beaten them twice and do seem to know how to play against them. And Tuchel, to be fair, is a very good manager. He's a lot better than basically a lot of us thought. Managing PSG, you kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt. It's the French league. He should win it. But coming in, you've seen how he's actually a coach and a tactician. So I do think Chelsea, we can all see the development and how better Chelsea have been going into that. So
he hasn't spent any money, and he hasn't spent any money, has he?
Exactly, that's it. He's not even had a window. None of those guys are his players. And to be fair, when you look at
that's a squad already. It's like you asked the question about Oli and Arteta. Ollie inherited a good squad. Let's have it right.
Oh, I don't know, man. Come on,
Arteta had
like
a crap squad, and
Yeah,
to
but
get rid of bad apples. Chelsea
You-
is the second best squad. I've said this from the beginning, being on here.
Yeah, no, you did,
Chelsea
Si,
for
you
me
did, you
has
did.
got the second best squad in the league. If you look at the midfield, all they need is a world-class striker, and they are challenging for the league next season. That's all they need. There's no weakness in the Chelsea side, apart from the striker. Unless you
and Aretha Balaga when he plays.
Even
about that guy.
Look, Foddy makes a good point in the comments. If it goes to pens, there's only one winner. Yeah, Man City can't take penalties. So if it goes to penalties, Chelsea have got that.
And they have a German coach, and they never lose penalties.
Yeah, there you go. That is it's quite interesting. I mean, there's so many like nice endings to the season. There's a lot going on. I know the league's basically wrapped up, but there's still quite a few cliffhangers and basically twists and turns. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how the fact that, you know, Leicester have got to play Chelsea twice. You've got the Champions League final as well, and we just had Man City versus Chelsea. There's quite a lot going for.
But don't forget, there's still 3 league games to go, and there's plenty of time for a hamstring to go ping.
Well, we saw that's, you know what, talking about injuries, we'll segue into Harry Maguire getting injured. Rodri, Harry Maguire went down the first time he's been subbed off in his Premier League career. They're saying that it's an ankle injury with possibly 3 weeks. Possibly a 3-week lead time before he's back. Does that give you a bit of worries going into the last couple of games in the final?
Well, yeah, because say what you want about it, but he's done well for us and kept a lot of clean sheets. And of late, him and Liverpool also, it'd be a bit. I'm pretty sure. They say 3 weeks, probably worst case scenario, but big street, and I'm pretty sure it'll come back for all that.
You think so? So do you think it might be a case where they rush him back for the final, almost essentially like what Harry Kane, what we did with Harry Kane?
What kind of injury was it? Was it a muscle injury? Was it a knock? It depends what kind of injury it is, really.
Yeah, I guess.
I wonder what they're saying and what kind of things. They might just be saying that for, I don't know, but it's a big loss if he does miss the 3 week match.
Well, Rod, he's okay to tweet.
He's done well since he's come back.
He's okay to tweet. He hopes it's nothing serious, so I'm pretty sure he'll be all right, unless he tweets with his toes. Which would be interesting.
He tweets with his toes. Oh man,
he's not missed many games. If any, I'm pretty sure he'll want to carry that on. But if it's one way to aggravate and make it worse, then no, he'll sit the probably next game out. But if he can play, he'll probably play because, like I say, he's a big strapping centre half, and they'll might be tough.
And Si, as you guys obviously won. Yeah, was it yesterday? Yesterday, gave you a bit of confidence winning at home. What would you say? Essentially, your league defense hasn't been the greatest, but you're still in the mix for possibly a top 4 finish. What do you guys need to do in the summer to come back strong next year and be in contention again?
Well, it looks like we're going to be signing a centre half anyway, so I think it looks like they're going to secure that bit there. I think we desperately need a proper striker, a real out-and-out striker, and maybe another midfielder. Probably that's it. I don't think that we don't need too much. I think there'll be a bit of a difference when Virgil and Gomez and even Joel Matip comes back, whether he's still going to be there next summer. But yeah, we just need a defender and I think a striker, like a genuine elite striker.
Because I saw a segment from Robbie Fowler. He says he wants you guys to go after Ollie Watkins. Would you think that's a good fit, or would you probably want to aim a bit higher than that?
He could be a good squad player, maybe. He could be a squad player, but I feel like no disrespect to him, but it's no different to Origi. So yeah, I'll be embarrassed if that happens. I'll be upset.
No, Ollie Watkins is better than Origi. Come on, but then to be fair, Ollie Watkins plays week in and week out, and Origi doesn't. So.
Went to Villa, he probably do exactly what Ollie Watkins is doing, getting 6 to 8 goals. So yeah, he's not the answer. Would you be happy when Kane goes? Get Ollie.
Nah, if Kane goes, no. If Ollie Watkins comes in to basically supplement Kane and play off him and be our second striker, then yeah, I'm happy with that. Ollie Watkins is a decent player. But as your out and out number 9, no fucking way. That would be embarrassing. So,
I had a question for you for that. I was going to say, who would you shortlist in terms of your 5 strikers for when Kane eventually goes?
When he eventually goes, it depends when he goes.
I don't think he'll go this year, but I'm saying he's gonna go at some point, surely.
If Kane does go, that's a great question, but it really depends on so many things because
take Anthony Martial just to piss off Sems.
I wouldn't even want up Martial. I think Martial's a decent player, but
that's
he's not
Ollie Watkins.
Nah, they're 2 completely different players, aren't they? Ollie Watkins is an out-and-out striker. I don't know if Martial is a striker. I don't know if he's a wide forward, a striker. I don't really still know what his position is. He's a good player to have, but you couldn't rely on Martial to get you 20 goals a season. And obviously, if we do lose Kane, you want someone to come in who's at least going to give you 20 a season. And I can't see that in Martial, so nah. It wouldn't be that, but I know Stel wasn't really being serious. He was just saying it to wind up.
No, you can have him.
He's awful.
Oh man, no,
what 5 players would you have if you got your 150 mil or 30 mil?
Oh, 5. So basically, you're asking me if we have to rebuild. Yeah. I'll try and get Grealish because we're still missing and attacking. Basically, a quality number 10/attacking mid. When Eriksen left, we've not replaced Eriksen yet. We brought in Lo Celso. I still don't know what Lo Celso is. Is he an 8? Is he a 6? I don't really get his role in the team. He's a tidy player. He can move the ball forward, but he doesn't really do anything. We brought in Lo Celso and Ndombele to fill that void, and none has really done what Eriksen can do. So we definitely need a number 10. So I bring in either a Jack Grealish or a James Maddison. If we're talking, fantasy, because I don't know. I don't think we could get Maddison. And if we was to go approach Grealish, they would ask for an astronomical figure because he only signed a contract extension last year, didn't he? Yeah. So he kind of priced himself out of a move, which I didn't really understand at the time. I know Jack Grealish, obviously Aston Villa is his boyhood club, but if he really had aspirations to move, he shouldn't have signed that extension. So he's kind of fucked himself.
Kane, though, isn't it?
Same as Kane.
Exactly what Harry Kane's done.
Jack Grealish wants to win things. He's not going to go to Spurs.
That's the thing, man. We're bringing him in to win. So if we rebuild and bring in quality players, then hopefully we can win something. So you know what? It does piss me off though.
If you want to go that's a massive.
Sorry, you're breaking up a bit, Rodri. I don't know if it's your headphones but you broke up a bit.
I'm saying it's a massive loss if you lose Harry Kane. You need to keep him at all costs.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. I saw something today saying Kane's representatives are going to ask Daniel Levy basically to start, essentially looking at bids or allowing bids to come in for him. Because it looks like, after yesterday's loss, it looks like we're not getting top 4 now. There was still a slim chance, an outside possibility. And yeah, so Harry Kane's representatives have now asked Daniel Levy to start looking at potential bids that come in. But for me, it's almost like in the NBA, when you have a star player and you really want him to stay, you build around him. You show the player that you're serious and you start bringing in players that will obviously complement that player and show you mean business. So in an ideal world, that's what Daniel Levy should do. But see, look at this comment. I'm talking about it now, my guy. Relax, Dash. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would do if I was Daniel Levy. Because like you said, Rods, we have to keep him at all costs. If we lose Harry Kane, we're fucked because there's not that many quality strikers out there, are there, that can guarantee you 20 a season. And then also Kane he's so influential in terms of his output in assists, what he brings to the team, all the stuff he does. So yeah, Daniel Levy at all costs needs to keep Harry Kane, and that is by showing him how serious he is and bringing in players to win something. I think we got quite lucky in the sense that it's a COVID market. So players aren't going to have, well, teams aren't going to have the 120, 150 million this season to really put an outlay on a player that's got 3 years left on his contract. But next year, Kane with 2 years left on his contract, then it becomes a problem. I only think, Jay, the only reason or only way a team could bid for Harry Kane right now is if there's a domino effect. And say for example, Real Madrid put in a bid for Mbappe moves to Real Madrid. PSG then have the money, and it becomes like a domino knock-on effect. But as it stands right now, I can't see it. I can't see Harry Kane leaving.
The only thing I got against Harry Kane is his age. He's going to be 28 this year.
Yeah.
If he waits another year, he's going to be 29. Who's going to pay that fee for a 29-year-old?
People have, and people have done it before.
Real Madrid will do it.
Like he's not that old. Yeah, he's getting on.
He's not that old, but
he's not that old. But you also got to remember he's a goal machine. He's guaranteed goals. So someone will pay it. Like there's not, like you said, Jay. Like, I mean, even you said it, Si. Chelsea need a striker. There's a lot of teams that need an out-and-out striker. So I'm sure the bids will come in.
United, they have got the muscle. If they really wanted, they could get him.
Yeah.
Not Chelsea,
United,
of course, because
United, Chelsea, Man City, PSG, Real Madrid. Those teams have got the flexibility and the muscle to really go and put a bid in and really ruffle some feathers if they want to. But
I'm not sure. Real Madrid are.
Who does Kane go to? Kane's only going to go to someone that can guarantee titles, isn't it? So it's probably going to be City's Real Madrid, really.
Real Madrid,
but Barca ain't going to have the money.
Real Madrid isn't a guarantee right now, to be fair. I would say
Real Madrid ain't a guarantee anymore.
Man City, PSG.
Yeah, it's the French league. I can't see him going there.
Yeah, but because
Bayern Munich ain't paying that fee.
Yeah, Bayern Munich. They don't need him.
They won't need him. Yeah.
So it's because obviously I can't even really call out Juventus anymore because they lost their title.
They ain't got the money as well. That's why they're in the league.
So that's teams are broke.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think what we're forgetting, gentlemen, is that if a player wants to leave, he will go. There's nothing the club can do. They can say, "Oh, we're not going to sell you. We're going to hold on to your registration," but that's nonsense. Money talks at the end of the day. And how long is it? You say he's got 3 years left.
Too expensive, though. I think with his wages that he's going to command.
I don't know. I think
crippled ankles, like all of this has to come into account. But the thing is, I think 3 clubs that can afford him.
Yeah, but I think the danger with transfer talk is that a lot of people are under the impression that teams pay lump sums straight away. That's not how it works. There's player amortization. If it's a 5-year contract, they'll pay that fee over the 5 years. And if the player's there for 3 years and they sell him, they only paid the 3 years because the rest will get the money back anyway. So
Levy is everyone knows that he's the hardest person to negotiate with.
Yeah, he's a nightmare. And this is one of the reasons why I hate him because
this is the same Daniel Levy that agreed the 3 million transfer loan fee for Vinicius, paying 45 million potential transfer fee.
I know, that is just bonkers. The thing is, I like Vinicius. I think he's done well.
He's going to be special. I actually think he's going to be really good. I think he will step up. No, I'm being serious. Every time I've seen him play, you can see that he's a good striker.
Yeah, I like him, and
I'm a bit trusting the guy.
Yeah, I'm disappointed he hasn't got more of a run out. I like him, and I think his attitude is really good as well because every time he's played, he's been hungry. He's not sulked. He's got on it, and he's pretty much scored.
Looks like a threat. Like he doesn't have a back. He doesn't look out of place. Like he looks like he should be there.
Yeah, I like him, and I'm disappointed that it's But yeah, you're right. 45 million still is a lot for him.
But this is the guy. Wasn't he at Napoli, and then he got to Monaco, and then he signed for Benfica permanently? I mean, for crying out loud, Benfica don't want him, but they're happy to play Adel Taarabt.
It's a weird one, isn't it? It's a weird one.
I don't know. I think that smacks of dodgy agents, if you ask me. But anyway, it is what it is.
But Pat, do you think Spurs has a real pull for someone that wants to come to win things?
Right now, no.
A little bit shady, but.
No. It's, I can answer the question. Like right now, no, because our track record hasn't been good enough and we haven't won anything. So realistically, you're looking at it like you can't tell a player to come to Spurs to win things, but you can tell a player that you can be part of the rebuild as long as that you can guarantee. For me, if I was a player and I was looking at going to Tottenham, you'd have to guarantee me that Son is staying, Harry Kane is staying, basically all the best players are staying, and then we can build from there.
You're also going to need to know who the manager is.
Exactly, that's a great
point. Who are you playing for?
The manager needs to have the pool, yeah.
Are you playing for Eddie Howe?
I know, exactly. Are you playing for, a top manager, or are you playing for Graham Potter, or
would you be happy if Mason got the job full time?
Nah, I wouldn't. And he's 29, he's unproven, he doesn't have any experience, and we saw that against Bielsa yesterday. That's a great point that I wanted to raise. Yesterday, you saw the difference between an experienced quality manager and a rookie, a novice, someone that's just been thrown in the deep end. Obviously, Ryan Mason's never going to turn down an opportunity at his age and his point in his career, but he was out of his depth, man.
Yeah, but you say that, but if you look at 2 of Leeds' goals, Eric Dyer, Jesus Christ.
I know.
Wow.
He's
ball watching.
He just cleared the ball. The first one, he let it go across him. Why don't you just whack that out for a corner or a goal kick?
Someone might whisper
amateur level defending.
This is the thing. Why is he still being played? Because you still got Davinson Sanchez, don't you?
Yeah, Davinson Sanchez
is awful as well.
But for me, it would be Joe Rodon and Toby. Joe Rodon has looked like a good defender every time he's played. I've not really seen him put his foot wrong. Yes, he's
Pochettino trusted Dyer. Mourinho trusted Dyer. Mason trusted him. What has this player got on these managers?
He's the best of a bad bunch.
No, he's not the best because he's not better than Joe Rodon.
His quality. But the others,
for me, I think Joe Rodon is a good player. I think he should be playing, and even Tanganga.
Okay, but you talk about Spurs. This is what I don't know if it's just me. Maybe I'm in the past. I just keep thinking this is Spurs. You've got a championship player as your main defender.
Who? As in Eric Dyer? Yeah, no, he's awful.
The Swansea dude, what's his name? Rodon.
No, but Joe Rodon is a good player, man. Championship or not, it's like. Yeah, but he's good though.
Meant to get the City defender, and you got Joe Rodon.
Exactly.
Yeah, but come on. What about Robertson, the Liverpool left back? The Liverpool left back was from Hull, wasn't he?
That's what I'm saying.
Dundee before
that. There are championship players that can become good players. Like it doesn't. I wouldn't let that always cloud your judgment.
Got relegated from the Premier League. He wasn't even in the Championship.
Harry Maguire was at a Championship club. And then he came up, and then obviously he got,
but he's been relegated 4 times. But
I know that's it. But he's not really a great example. He's just the first one that came to mind. But I mean,
Dele is a Championship, wasn't he, or League
Well, no, he was from League One, MK Don. So that's not always the mark of a player. I do hear
Jamie Vardy was non-league.
Yeah. Well, Mikel Antonio was non-league as well until like late in his career, like 24, 25. So it's not always the mark of a player. I hear what you're saying, but I do think Joe Rodon is good. Every time I've watched him, I've seen him, and I think he was good.
Would you be happy with him to start the season though? Surely not.
Well, I wouldn't have because I hadn't seen him. And obviously the fact that we was in for Skriniar and Ruben Diaz, and then on the last day of the season, we ended up with Joe Rodon. And I was like, who the fuck is Joe Rodon? I didn't even know who he was.
That's like a promise of £100 to only get a pound.
But that's Daniel Levy for you, isn't it? He's messing about, and then we end up losing, both of these players because he just doesn't want to, basically he wants to play hardball with everyone. But yeah,
Pete,
I can.
Do you think there's a chance you get Dybala? I'm not even joking because Juventus might be in the Europa League next season.
Not again, man.
I think they're struggling with money as well, man.
Dybala's done now, man. Like, when is the last time Dybala has been a good player? I haven't seen Dybala do anything decent for the last couple of years. I think he's done.
I think his head was turned last season. He was meant to come to you lot.
He
lost the heart.
His thing, but you know what? I'm gonna play host now. And Rodri, I'm gonna ask you a question. When you look at the Spurs team, what do you think we need to do this summer to basically be back in the mix next year?
Go to church.
Great. Well, maybe some juju.
It's a tough question because there's so many tough teams who are better than them at the minute and who are going to strengthen. So Tottenham have just got to, stick to a plan and try and stick to it and be on their own journey because, it's like the Mikel Arteta job. It's a big job. All right, he's been there a year and a half, but it's still a massive job, and it's the same with Tottenham. So yeah, it's a big job. They've got to keep Harry Kane. They've got to sort the defence out. There's a lot of aging players. You know, is Gareth Bale going to stay? Then we've got the Euros. There are always some players that emerge out of that will be decent. So you've got to look out for that. And maybe they come out, they look decent in the Euros, then you bring them into the Premiership and they don't work out. You know, we've seen that with, you know, Karol Poborski. He looked brilliant in 1996, comes to United. Yes, he was okay, but he wasn't the 1996 Czech Republic Karol Poborski. So you've got to be careful of that. But, you know, there'll be some decent players as well. So you've just got to recruit well, and you know, but it's difficult because everyone's looking for that gem. But you know, the most important thing is to keep Harry Kane, because without goals, you're not going to win football matches.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really good point. I think we need to keep Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, tie them into new deals if we can. We need a director of football, in my opinion. Daniel Levy needs to get away from footballing decisions and leave that to the experts. So bring in a manager, let him do his job. Bring in a director of football, let him do his job. And then hopefully we can push on. But like you said, Rodney, there's so many good teams now. It's difficult. I mean, you had a top 6. Now there's 7, 8 teams almost, you know, trying to crash that top 6 as well.
I think you missed the boat when you got to reach that Champions League final, and Pochettino, he wanted to strengthen and bring that extra couple of players in to strengthen and freshen it up, and they didn't do that.
That's true.
Yeah, they've just gone backwards ever since.
Yeah, exactly.
So even when United and even when Arsenal, when they were winning Premier Leagues, you know, you still got to strengthen, you still got to bring players in to keep people motivated and keep people on the toes. And if you don't do that, then because sometimes the training session games are more harder than the actual games. So that's what you're actually looking for. You have a squad that, you know, your training sessions are, you're coming off thinking, fucking hell, I'd rather play on a Saturday than, you know, that's what you want, because it's healthy competition, and that's what you get the best out of the teams.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think for us, that's where we, like, for example, Dele Alli, Eriksen, Harry Kane, Heung-min Son. These guys knew they were playing week in and week out, no matter how badly.
Dele Alli is a player in there as well. Someone needs to come in. You know, a manager coming in. Does he keep Gareth Bale? Because, you know, I know he's a world-class player on his day, but, you know, it's obviously he wasn't a Jose player, because he doesn't go both ways, up and down, so he doesn't work his ass off like Jose would like. So
and that got exposed against Leeds on Saturday. We saw that they were overloading on that side because they know Gareth Bale's not going to track back. So we got exposed there. So yeah, you're right. It is important. I mean, the first thing is a manager, isn't it? And then we can go from there.
Well, that's the
main thing. That's the
manager. Main thing to get the right manager in.
Pete, just to go back quickly, mate. Just to go back quickly, mate. You mentioned the director of football. We had a director of recruitment in Paul Mitchell, and he left and he went to Leipzig, and now he's at Monaco. And Monaco, like third in the table. He's working with Eminalo, who ironically was at Chelsea. You've missed that person there, because if you look at the signings you made since he's gone, shambles, mate.
Shambles, a big shambles. I mean, we saw who our director, well, not our director, but our head chief or head scout is on the All or Nothing DVD. Prime flipping show, and he's a joke. Steve Hitchin, he's an absolute joke. He was saying that he hates the January transfer window. Like, how can you hate one of your windows? We only get 2 windows, right? And he's basically saying he hates the January window. He doesn't like doing any work there. So essentially, he's working for what, 1 window a year, and he really thinks we're going to succeed doing that? With all the crap players that we've got, all the deadwood that we need to get out, we've needed a refresh since 2016, 17. Yeah, we're in a bit of a mess.
It just seems that Daniel Levy has put all these eggs in the stadium, the stadium basket, so to speak. He's more focused on getting Little Mix in concert and hosting American handball games than football.
Yeah, he banked big time on the stadium, thinking that was going to be the big money earner. But obviously, no one foresaw this COVID-19, this pandemic, and the fact that stadiums are going to be closed for a year. So all the money that we expected to come in from the stadium, we didn't get it. And that has really put us, scuppered us. Don't get me wrong, we're all in the same boat, but the stadium was meant to be the big money roller for Tottenham. The US, the boxing things, the Madonna concerts, Guns N' Roses concerts, Little Mix concert, like you said, the fact that they was going to do NFL games there, all these things that was meant to bring in so much money, that's not happened. And we've gone backwards as a club, and so on.
But they made
anyway,
improvements to the Sainsbury's on Northumberland Park, though. To be fair, it does look nice. We've got car park
what?
and everything.
That's where I shop. Shout out to Sainsbury's. That's decent. But yeah, Jay. So down the road, we've got Chelsea, who are obviously going from strength to strength. They brought in the right manager at the right time. They've basically, when you look at Tuchel and what he's done there, do you think that if you guys get in the right manager in the summer, that you could essentially do what they're doing now?
Well, it depends, but it depends on the recruitment. I think Chelsea, they recruit really well, whereas Arsenal don't recruit that well. You know, you can't really look at Chelsea's team and say, apart from probably Timo Werner, but you can't really say that they've wasted money on any other player. You know, like Si said, they probably got one of the best squads in the league, or the second best squad. You know, and it's for a team like Chelsea, because they've got Abramovich. Even if a player flops, they can just get rid of him and buy another one. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, if Arsenal get the right man, we could do, but it'll take us longer to get to where.
All right, Jay, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Who would you like in?
Manager, yeah?
Yeah.
Brendan Rodgers, man.
Okay. Yeah,
I rate him, man. I rate him still.
That makes sense. But do you think... Sorry, go on.
He was my first choice when Wenger left.
Yeah. That's a good shout. Do you think he will come to you guys? I'm not even trying to be cheeky. I'm asking an honest question here. Do you think he will come right now?
Hard, because probably where Leicester is and what's going on at Leicester, he might not want to leave that. It depends if Arsenal.
If they don't make Champions League football for the second year running when they should do, and you guys hypothetically can better his wages, he's on 10 million a year from what I've seen. Do you think that could be enough to entice him? Because Arsenal are a bigger club than Leicester historically, and they should. Their bounce back ability is probably better than Leicester's. So yeah, basically looking at that, do you think that would be enough?
Yeah. I reckon it would be. I reckon it would be. And if we promised him money, like to spend, 100%. I reckon.
If he's ambitious, he'll go at Arsenal.
Yeah.
If he's got ambition, he'll go at Arsenal because it's a big project, big project. So it will be a big challenge to get rid of Deadwood. It'll be a big challenge to trust in the youth because let's be honest, Arsenal's youth academy hasn't been great. I know we've seen a few players break through, but in the past 4 or 5 seasons, it hasn't been great. He can bring in his own people, as we've seen Arteta do. So it'll be a massive challenge for him. And if he's as good as he claims he is, then he should go for it.
Lauren, don't diss Graham Potter. He's actually a decent manager. If Brighton had a striker or someone that could actually finish, they'd be decent.
That's true, actually.
I think Graham Potter is a good manager, and I do think if a team's brave enough, he is the next shout for that hidden gem. I don't think he's a hidden gem because he's doing it right there and there under our noses. But I think people turn their nose up at him because it's Brighton. I think he's a good manager.
Ralph then? Ralph Hasenhüttl. If you rate Graham,
I don't know. I'm not
Ralph?
sure of him. I like him. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure of it.
It was certain managers, like certain clubs are their level. Like you say, Graham Potter. Yeah, he's probably good, but he's probably good for a team like Brighton. Could you imagine? Can you imagine going to a top 6 club and doing bits there?
The thing is, that top 6 club, you've got the pressure on you day in and day out. Everything's under the microscope. Every decision is scrutinized. Graham Potter loses today. No one really cares. Yeah, they should have had that game in the bag. They lost it. Dunk got sent off.
David Moyes. David Moyes. When after Man United, he was not the same guy. It's only now you're seeing the David Moyes.
Yeah, it took him a long time to get his mojo back.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a case of David Moyes not being a good coach. I just think that it was a poison challenge. Like whoever went in, whoever took that job after Sir Alex Ferguson, and that squad. Remember that squad was like
he needed a refresh.
He needed a complete overhaul. Yeah. And he got Fellaini. Like, so I don't think it was him. I just think that this is bad timing.
I don't know. I mean, he did reject a lot of players which he could have signed, and he did go see a lot of players. And
did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is it? I heard that he didn't really get back that much.
He had the opportunity to be backed. Trust me. But Yeah, he dithered. That's why we called him Dithering Dave.
Interesting.
But listen, he did very well at Everton, but then he went to Sociedad and he could just about pronounce Laramendi, and then he went to Sunderland. And after his first game against Man City, he said we're in a relegation battle. So
yeah, that didn't
well,
go
I
well.
guess he's done well given the circumstances. Doesn't allow players to eat crisps either. So
really, I guess they're just going to eat them behind his back, aren't they? Like, these guys are not going to not eat crisps because David Moyes says so. That's a bit, it's a bit mad. But we're gonna try and wrap it up within the next 5 minutes or so. So we've got 3 games, possibly 4 games left of the season. I'm just thinking, basically, Si, for you, what would you say would be a good end to the season or something positive for you guys to look forward to?
Season to end now. I'm done. Like, I'm so done. Like,
well, you're going to get Champions League because right now you're not in a Champions League spot. So if you end now, you don't get in there.
I don't even know if we would still make that top. I almost thought even if we did, I just thought we don't deserve it. I don't know. I just want the season just to start again, get our players back. Our players just look fried, but yeah, who knows? Maybe the gods are looking down at us. We might sneak in there, come forth.
Boy, and Jay, same question to you, man.
Yeah, I'm done with this season, man. The only thing that also could do to resurrect, like make the season better, will probably to try and finish slightly higher if they can. But other than that, it's been a crap season, bro. So
it's been awful. But for you, Man United fans, to be fair, you guys have had a good season, in my opinion. Finishing second is obviously, yeah, it's not a title race where you're finishing second and it's but you're comfortably the second best team in the league. You could finish with silverware. Well, actually, I'm going to play devil's advocate, Rodri. Do you deserve to be in the Europa League? Do you think it's fair that you're in the Europa League after dropping down from the Champions League? Do you think that they should reverse that and basically, you guys are obviously a much better team than all the other teams that were left in the Europa because you came from the Champions League. And do you think it's fair that the third, the team that finishes third in the group drops down?
Well, I don't really agree with that. The Champions League should be the champions, but it's the top 4. So, yeah, it's the third worst in the league. So you drop down. That's the rules. So yeah, United shouldn't be here. Let's have it right. They won the first 3 games and then dropped to Klanga in Turkey or wherever it was, and then that was it. So yeah, they deserve to be in there, but. They pulled the socks up and got themselves together and got themselves to the final. So really, they should win it now. And if they don't, then some knives will be out for them. They really will. But,
yeah,
it would have been an okay season if they don't. But it's not a great season if they don't win anything.
And Stel, last question for you, my man. Who would you like to bring in the summer?
What, player-wise?
Yeah, player-wise, yeah.
Man United. What should I talk about? Omoni or Man United? Man United. Ideally, a central defender. Ideally.
So you wouldn't have went for like an attacking player like a Kane or a Sancho, the guys you've been linked to for like.
Well, if Cavani stays for another year, which is looking likely, I'd bring in another central defender. Okay, if we bring in another striker, who is available? Who would Man United spend money on? This is the thing. Like, obviously, people saying, "Oh, the Glazers did spend money." Well, yeah, they sanctioned money being spent. It's not their money; it's the club's money, and the club has invested poorly over the years. But we brought in the youngster from Atalanta, the winger, who's looking pretty decent. Yeah, he's looking pretty decent. Which I think in the future we'll see Greenwood play a more central striker role. That's my opinion. Maybe Rod will agree with that or disagree. I'm not sure. I think Rashford is on that left-hand side to stay. There's all this talk about Sancho, but if United were serious about Sancho, they'd have got Sancho. That's the be on end all of it. So yeah, if Cavani stays, I don't see there's any point in signing another striker unless Martial leaves. That's when you're talking about bringing another striker. But ideally, I want another central defender because, Lindelof has his good games, but he has his bad games. Eric Bailly, again, hit or miss. Twanzebe we haven't seen enough of, and when he has played, he's either played poorly or he's had good games or he's played centre mid or left back or right back. there's no consistency there. So we need a central defender that's pretty tough. Jules Koundé at Sevilla is pretty decent.
Okay.
I think he's a good central defender. But yeah, I'd go for a centre back because really United are covered in every area. If you think about it, left back is fine, right back is fine, centre mid. You know, if Pogba stays as well, that would be a bonus. Clearly, he's in the form of his life at the club.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's Jesse Lingard if he comes back.
Do you think he'll come back though, or do you think he would probably prefer to go to West Ham where he plays week in and week out and is the star man there?
He's at the age where he needs to play games, man, and he won't play regularly for United, irrespective of how well he's done at West Ham. You know, he needs to go for his own sanity. Let's be fair. You know, he's at the stage of his career where he needs to play, and let him go if he wants to go. You know, fair fucks him.
I agree. So now, thank you guys. It's been a pleasurable show, and that hour and 15 minutes has flown by. So before we go, I'd like to just wrap up and everyone to pretty much shout out their socials and where we can find you. So Sai, go ahead. I'll start with you.
Yeah, so estate agent Cole Harding. We're based on Tottenham High Road, near the Sainsbury's, near the Spurs ground. But yeah, anything you need from us in terms of buying, selling, renting, come to me, Cole Harding, estate agent.
Wicked, thank you. And Stel, where can we find you, my man?
All right, podcast, Shoot the Defence, podcast, No Choftes, One Leos Pro Athima. And that's it, at Shoot the Defence, and that's it. Oh, and my Twitter is on my Instagram is somewhere there.
Yeah, I'll put that at the bottom of the screen for everyone. And Rodri, where can they find you?
Yeah, Twitter at Rod James Giggs, or probably every Monday on Shoot the Defence with Stel.
Wicked, thank you, brovs. And last but not least, Mr. Jason Alex.
Yeah, just catch me on Twitter, man. For all football Arsenal content, at Mr. Jason Alex. Yeah, you catch me on there, man. Active. And I am your host this week, Mr. Patrick Tyrant. You can find me on Twitter with that handle. Obviously, I'm part of the Views team, so you'll see me on there as well. And this is Everyone's a Pundit, episode 74. These are your pundits. I am your host. With that, we'd like to say thank you for tuning in, and good night and God bless. Peace. Nice one.